It is 11 o'clock, hour number 2 here on Three Man Front. Appreciate you tuning us on this Football Friday. We just heard from Wimp Sanderson. Mike Rodak's going to join the program momentarily. Then at the bottom of the hour, we'll do Bet It or Forget It. 12 noon, we'll go to the Keystone State. That would be Pennsylvania.
Okay, thank you. I remembered it was Keystone State after you said it. Kind of. We got the Show Me State. We got the Natural State.
Mm-hmm. Land of Opportunity State.
We've been talking about those states.
Sunshine State.
Mm-hmm.
The Bayou State.
Sportsman's Paradise. That's the one I remember for the tag that Louisiana used to have, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It is a paradise. That's for sure. Joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline from Bama 247, Mike Rodak joins us on this program. Mike, are you ready to break down the 3 deep for Eastern Illinois on the next 10 minutes?
Well, I know this. They're 271st in the country in Bill Connolly's rankings. So we were talking about it, and that's behind, I think there's 33 D2 teams, 1 D3 team, and 1 NAIA team that are ranked higher in Bill Connolly's SP Plus that he does. And we were talking about it, like they might be one of the worst teams to come to Bryant-Denny in terms of kind of where they stand in that ranking over the years. Because I don't know how long FCS teams have come here. I'd have to go back and check, but it's not like they've done it every single year. So
they do claim a national title, Mike, back in 1978.
They have a pretty rich history of NFL
good quarterbacks.
People. Yeah, Garoppolo, Tony Romo, and then Sean Payton, Mike Shanahan.
I forgot about
Brad
Shanahan.
Childress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys know that Dino Babers coached there?
I did not.
No.
Yep.
Dino.
2013, he went 12-2 and 8-0 in conference.
It led him to Syracuse, right?
Did not work there.
No, it didn't.
No. Eastern Illinois to upstate New York. Now, that didn't work out too well. Not going to spend a lot of time talking about Eastern Illinois, but I do want to ask you about last weekend against the Oklahoma Sooners because, following the team and covering the team and watching the team, outside the 3 turnovers, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot from Kalen DeBoer this week about all the good plays that they had. And I think there's certainly some progress in the running game. The passing game was able to move the ball at times. Obviously the defense has had, 3 pretty good weeks here. You would expect that kind of given the schedules lightened up a little bit in terms of the offenses that they've faced compared to, Tennessee and Missouri with their running game and, Vandy. So this stretch has been a little bit easier quarterback wise, I think, against them, but the defense has played really well. I think the big problem for the defense was not forcing a turnover because that's been, part of their calling card all year and something that Kane Womack really stresses, and they weren't able to do that. But at the same time, I think Oklahoma deserves credit for forcing those turnovers of Alabama. It's not like they were just fluky plays where, the ball just fell out of somebody's hands. It was pressure that they were bringing against Ty Simpson. It was disguise and coverages. It was a lot of the things that you were afraid of from Brent Venables going into that game. And, I said they could probably withstand 1 turnover offensively because that's happened, a string of games now. But when you start having multiple turnovers, and that Oklahoma defense was capable of forcing multiple turnovers and playing, by the way, without its best defensive player in R. Mason Thomas, once that happened, it was going to be tough sledding. So at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's going to hang a banner and say that you outgained a team by 200 something yards and still lost. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I guess you can look at it and say you didn't play all that bad of a game, whatever that means.
Mike Rodak covers the Alabama Crimson Tide, joining us here on Three Man Front and joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. As we kind of skip ahead to next week and what we're going to get with the Iron Bowl at Jordan here, it's a night game, a lot of emotion on the Auburn side. Alabama's got a ton to play for. When you look at that game and specifically what Auburn does, I guess, defensively, and we've seen one game with it so far with the offense minus Hugh Freeze. What challenges do you think that Alabama faces that will be of utmost importance addressing for Kalen DeBoer and the staff?
Yeah, I would say obviously the defense of Auburn is going to give you more sleepless nights, if you will, because it's not all that worse than Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is a top 5 defense in the country by some of the advanced metrics, and Auburn's top 10 or top 12. So it's the defense that, you can. Here's the thing: people say like, all right, the offense might be able to get back in rhythm with this Eastern Illinois game. You run the ball for X number of yards. Ty Simpson throws for X number of touchdowns, and man, I think back to 2021, Bryce Young had a school record 559 yards against Arkansas, and the very next week was the Iron Bowl in Auburn, and that offense did nothing the first half of that game. And they didn't score a touchdown until the last drive, the Ja'Cory Brooks play. So I don't know if it'll carry over into this game, and it's its own little animal. Auburn's defense, I think, is certainly capable of putting some pressure on you. They're capable of stopping your running game, which, is a lot of people are. So that only adds to it. And to me, it's more about Auburn's offense and can they manufacture a way to move the ball down the field 2 or 3 times and score. I think that's going to be potentially the deciding factor in the game. And, you just don't really know because there's been so many changes, for Auburn. And I guess they look good against Vandy. A lot of teams look good against Vandy's defense, which is not all that great. So I don't know. I think it's probably going to be about defending the quarterback run, defending Cam Coleman. I don't know if I'm missing somebody. He's probably the best receiver that Alabama's seen this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of an unknown there, just in how the passing game against Alabama looks, because they haven't really faced teams that do that a whole lot. I mean, Diego Pavia and Vandy is probably the best statistically, the passing team that they face. I'd have to go back and look, but that's, I don't know. It's just its own little game. And that's the thing. Like, you can break down every little stat, every little category, and just the Iron Bowl is the Iron Bowl. Like, nothing else matters. The first 11 games don't matter. It's just whatever happens on that field. So I guess it's almost like wasting breath talking about it, because we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Wanted to ask you about Tuesday night's college football playoff rankings as Notre Dame leapfrogs Alabama. How surprised were you by that? And where do you think Alabama currently stands in the mind of the CFP committee?
Not terribly surprised, because that's what both the AP and the coaches poll had on Sunday. So you're talking about 2 separate groups of people who both had the same conclusion. And then even the BCS simulation that people do on Twitter also had Notre Dame above Alabama. And so then you're kind of expecting the committee to have the same kind of popular result, even though obviously it's unpopular, around here. So at the end of the day, I don't know. It just depends on, it's this age-old debate this time of year of good wins versus bad losses. And I don't know if there's a right answer to that situation. You can sit there and teams can have a certain thing on one side and the other team has certain things on their side, and you just have to make a call. I don't know if there's ever a right answer. Same thing was true, obviously, with SMU and Alabama last year. So I don't know. Personally, I don't know if it's as big of a controversy, just again, because that's also what the polls had. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I don't think Alabama versus Notre Dame is necessarily going to be the deciding outcome of whether Alabama makes the playoffs, because if this team wins the SEC championship, they're pretty much guaranteed to be a top 4 seed. I don't think the SEC champion is not going to be a top 4 seed. You lose to Auburn, you're out. And then it's that situation of what happens if you lose the SEC championship game after beating Auburn, and where are you then? And I don't know if Notre Dame's the team I'd worry about. I would worry more about potentially Texas Tech losing a Big 12 championship game. And I'd also wonder about Miami. If there is a 3-way comparison between Miami at 10-2, Notre Dame at 10-2, the head-to-head win of Miami there, and then Alabama theoretically at 10-3, what would happen in that scenario if Notre Dame's already ahead of Alabama, if Miami in theory should be ahead of Notre Dame, if Miami went to Florida State and won a game that Alabama lost, how would the committee handle that situation? So we'll see.
Okay, so and I know these are a million what ifs, but let's just say that Alabama goes to the SEC championship game and they lose, and they're 10-3 as you just laid out. From an SEC perspective, knowing that, let's say they play A&M, and so Georgia's at home, they don't get the extra game, so you don't have an extra data point for them. You have Ole Miss sitting there. Let's say they beat Mississippi State. They finish 11-1. So in that scenario, Ole Miss and Georgia goes above Alabama with 3 losses?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I think it all comes down to the fact that the SEC championship game participants, that's just being decided by your conference record. But Alabama has something that those other teams don't, which is a non-conference loss. And the committee is going to be looking at the whole picture, whereas the SEC, in terms of the tiebreakers for the championship game, is just looking at the conference record. So that's really what gets Alabama into the game. But in terms of getting into the playoff, that's when you introduce what happened in non-conference, and that's where obviously the loss to Florida State is a differentiating factor, between Alabama and Georgia, Alabama and Ole Miss, potentially Alabama and A&M. So it's tricky, and I think this system right now is flawed. I think regardless of any possible outcome that happens with Alabama in an SEC championship game, you need to be rethinking what this game is. And I know people like to dump on the proposal from the Big Ten of a 20, 25, 30 team playoff, but built into that are these play-in games instead of conference championship games. And it really should be a play-in game. Alabama, Texas, Alabama, Vandy, have it be about the fringes, the teams on the bubble, because I don't know what we're learning. Even if, let's say it's Alabama, Georgia again, if A&M loses to Texas, like what are we really learning from an Alabama, Georgia SEC championship game, especially considering they could play again in the Peach Bowl? They might be right back in that building 3 weeks later. So it doesn't make sense as it's construed currently. But I think the way that it's set up and the way that this is all unfolding leaves open the possibility of Alabama being left out if they do lose an SEC championship game. And I think the margin of that game would really weigh heavily. Just like SMU last year. SMU lost really close at the end. If they had been blown out by Clemson, they would have been out. And I think the same standard could hold true here.
It's wild when we talk about the coaching carousel, and you never know really what's going to happen. But there have been names mentioned. Kane Womack's name's been mentioned. Ryan Grubb potentially mentioned. What's the likelihood that one of those coordinators gets a head coaching job somewhere?
It's definitely above zero. I think Womack feels like the higher potential because he has had coaching experience previously. His defense is statistically performing really well this year. Top 15 right now, I think. And, it seems like the Oklahoma State job is one where he's been mentioned. The Arkansas one is one where he's been mentioned. Grubb, I don't feel like has been connected quite as much. I know people have kind of speculated if Washington came open and Jed Fish left, Washington turned to Ryan Grubb. Well, they already skipped over him once, and he said he wanted that job, when Kalen left. So, Grubb is obviously a very good offensive play caller, but statistically the offense is not where the defense is right now. He doesn't have head coaching experience. I think he might have to work his way up at a smaller school. And then even some of those quote unquote smaller school jobs like Oregon State or Colorado State, it's actually DeMarcus Shepard, according to the CBS reporting, that is being considered. So I would say Womack more likely. And maybe Grubb just needs more time to kind of get on people's radars.
All right, Mike, I think you probably know this next question I'm going to ask you about Grubb and Womack's boss. Do you see a scenario if Alabama does not get into the college football playoff, does he find an off-ramp somewhere like Happy Valley, Pennsylvania?
It's hard to completely rule it out. And beyond that, it's hard for me to give an answer besides that, but there's no indication that he wants to leave.
Right.
There's no indication that Alabama wants to fire him right now. To me, it's just I told this to Paul the other day, like it's just kind of a gray area. Like I don't think it's a situation where Jimmy Sexton's trying to leverage Alabama to get an extension. Like I don't think Kalen's really in a position where Alabama's going to give him an extension right now, where that would make sense without playoff success. But he's also not. I mean, we're talking about a team that just lost by 2 points to a number 11 team in the country. They're still in a position right now where it's just as realistic for them to make a run at a national title as it is for them to miss the playoffs. It's not really a classic case of like, you need to get rid of this coach. So it's somewhere in the middle. And look, I don't think Jimmy Sexton would be doing his job if he wasn't listening to other schools calling. Obviously, I think Penn State, it seems like legitimately has interest in him. And you're right. If there is a situation where he loses the Iron Bowl and there's just this really bad taste in everybody's mouths, would it logically make sense for Kalen DeBoer to take a job like Penn State, which is a in terms of college football, top 10 job, it's hard to say completely no on that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Again, this team right now could still go to a national championship, and there's no reason for Kalen DeBoer to leave if that's the case. There's no reason for him to leave if they make a deep run in the playoffs regardless. So it's a really strange spot just to talk about it, because I know everybody likes to parse every single word that people say, but my answer is I don't know. And I think there's logic to it, but there's no indication that it would actually happen right now.
That is Mike Rodak. You can follow his work at Bama247. Mike, you and your family have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll catch up with you next Friday morning. We'll be live as we get ready for the Iron Bowl. Appreciate it very much.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. That is Mike Rodak from Bama247. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Abide Roofing, I've been telling you about this wonderful, wonderful thing that they're doing over the holiday season. They're giving one deserving homeowner a brand new roof completely free. This isn't a gimmick. It's not a sales pitch. It's their way of saying thank you to the community that has trusted Abide Roofing with their home. So here's how it works. You go to abideroof.com, look for a green bar at the top of the homepage. You can nominate yourself or someone who deserves it. Then watch out for the winning announcement coming up next month. The value is up to a 30-square roof for roughly $13,000. Maybe it's someone who's fallen on hard times, can't afford repairs to their home and the roof, or it's a single parent working 2 jobs. Maybe it's a veteran, first responder, a teacher who gives back to the community. They want to hear your story at Abide Roofing. So go to abideroof.com. They believe everyone deserves a safe, reliable roof over their head, and this is their way of giving back. So don't wait. Entries are now open through December 12th. Winner will be announced on December 19th. For complete details and to enter for the free roofing giveaway, simply go to abideroof.com. More three-man front on this Football Friday on Jocks. You know, it seems like a month of Sundays ago when Auburn went out to Waco, Texas, and Jackson Arnold ran all over the Baylor Bears. Doesn't it seem like a lifetime ago when that happened?
It really does. It was on a Friday night.
The excitement level of the Auburn football program and what took place after, well, once they got in the SEC.
They didn't have to open up the offense that night. It was just Jackson Arnold running, doing what he did.
Yep. The reason I bring up Baylor is because there has been a lot of talk about Dave Aranda. Is he going to be allowed to come back? His athletic director just got fired. So where do they stand with their football program? Well, it's being reported right now. Matt Fortuna just reported that Dave Aranda is coming back in 2026. So Baylor will not be on the hot board looking for a football coach. So Dave Aranda, I think Dave Aranda is a good football coach.
He is a good football coach.
Just really hasn't worked out quite like they thought it was going to in Waco, but they are going to give him another year to try to get it right.
Yep. And if he doesn't get taken in this coaching cycle, for some reason it doesn't work out with Aranda, then I could see a guy like Eric Morris at North Texas potentially landing that job when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Eric Morris is one of those hot names. I think Arkansas, the one of the 8 people that Hunter Yurachek has interviewed for that job.
He's really impressive, man, what he's been able to do in a short career. I think he's 34 years old.
Mm-hmm. We are continuing to watch what's going on west of us in Oxford, Mississippi. The Ole Miss football team is practicing. Once practice concludes around noon, Keith Carter, who is the athletics director at Ole Miss, he will have a meeting reportedly with Lane Kiffin. Have no idea who's going to be in the room with them. Don't know if this is just talking about the hot yoga class this
Maybe it's
morning.
a social media intervention, Pat. They tell him to use it less. They're concerned about it.
Possibly. But how about this? Sam Hutchins, who writes for the Clarion Ledger, he covers the Ole Miss Rebels for that newspaper. And I'm trying to get it pulled back up here on my, of course. I had the story and then it went away, and now they're telling me to subscribe. That just sucks. I cannot believe I had the story pulled up. I clicked the wrong button. I guess it was my free one story that I had for the Clarion Ledger, and now I can't read it. But anyway.
Let me see if I can get it.
Sam Hutchins from the Clarion Ledger, he did hot yoga this morning with Lane Kiffin. And so the whole story is about, like, doing hot yoga in a class of 30-some-odd people with Lane Kiffin this morning. So maybe you can access it. I can't. I had it, and then I hit the wrong button, and it sent me out of it. And then when I tried to come back, they said, no, you're out of luck. That's one of my very few subscriptions I do not have. I do not have a subscription to the Clarion Ledger. I guess, Conrad, I'm going to have to get rid of the Dublin Times and go to the Clarion Ledger.
Guys, Christmas present for Pat. We know what we're getting him now.
There you go. Clarion Ledger.
It's big time.
Is this the November 21st?
Yeah, that would be today.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure before I click on it, because this is going to be my one free story.
Yeah, I did hot yoga with Lane Kiffin as we await LSU Ole Miss Florida decision. That's it. Yes.
All right.
So you're clicking it. So let's see if they give you access. There you go. There's your one story.
All right.
Tell us what it says.
Well, can I read it first? Stretch.
Well, I'm sure it's not going to have any profanity in it.
Let's see. Do you want the part about Lane Kiffin expecting to meet with Key Carter? Or you just want to hear the
No, I want to hear
the cliff notes of the hot yoga?
I want to hear about the hot yoga.
Did they go in the same car together? Did they meet each other there?
Did
they
Lane
walk
talk?
together?
Yeah, did Lane talk to him?
Were they holding hands when they walked in? These are the things we need to know.
Okay. I'm working through the story.
You would want to know if they were holding hands.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why I said that.
I know why.
Is ex-wife Layla Kiffin involved in Kiffin's decision? Outlines her move, and then says that she toured Gainesville. We reported that. Baton Rouge. There's some stuff about his contract.
Where's
and
the
then
details
his
about
buyout? There
yoga.
is absolutely zero in here about hot yoga, Pat.
So the headline was it's a clickbait. Is that what it is?
Sure. And then it's got Lane Kiffin tweets that he put out with Forrest Gump post. And then the Ambassador Jet Center in SMU.
All right, read the
Oh,
lead.
him and Rhett Lashley yesterday, yeah.
Read the lead. Read the opening paragraph.
Okay.
As Landstrom is scrolling. What in the world?
I should be paid to do this. We're in day 5 of the heated up Lane Kiffin coaching search drama involving Florida, LSU, and Ole Miss football. it's anyone's guess on what Kiffin will decide. The Rebels are ranked number 6 in the nation in an excellent position to make the college football playoff for the first time. Ole Miss has an open week before playing at rival Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl on November 28th. Here are the latest updates, news, and rumors for Rebels, Gators, and Tigers fans.
Okay, hold on. So you just read something that's completely different of something that I have.
Okay.
It says, college football's most wanted man started his day on November 24th like any other. There were about 30 people in the Grind and Ground hot yoga class. It's a daily class at Studio 432, tucked behind the busiest street in Oxford, Jackson Avenue. It usually starts at 6 a.m., but Friday's class started at 6:30. Ole Miss football coach Lane Kiffin doesn't skip hot yoga, not even on the morning of road games. And then it goes, not now that he is a central figure in a national coaching search turned soap opera, and that's when it ends for me.
Okay, I didn't get that story.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Because it's the same headline.
So you got the hot yoga version, and then I got the cliff notes of everything that we've reported as it's going on this show.
I got access to it. I hope it didn't take my credit card.
I wonder if there's a spike in hot yoga around the South. I'm interested in hot yoga now.
I saw where there's apparently a bar in Baton Rouge that's now doing hot yoga, maybe to entice Lane Kiffin.
All right, here we
go.
go. Here's some more details. Kiffin looks mellow when he puts his yoga mat down. He's one of the last class participants to trickle in. I don't blame him. Moments before he found an open space in the middle of the back row, a few mats down from me, I was wondering why I'd gotten in position so early. The studio is about the size of a 2-car garage. It's intentionally humid, and there's red lights and mirrors on 3 sides. It feels like unloading the back of a sun-baked 18-wheeler in July. It's a feeling I was acquainted with during my high school summer job in a warehouse.
Attaboy.
I glanced at the thermostat once. I think it said 106. I'm told Kiffin occasionally walks over and bumps it up. Kiffin entered carrying a smart water. Man, this guy is giving details.
I love it.
He enters in carrying smart water. I came in with a strawberry grape body armor.
Wow.
Both of us.
I'm not going to judge you, but come on, dude.
Okay, both of us have rented mats and towels from the front desk. $5 cash for a soft place to push through the hour-long class. So it's $5 for hot yoga?
I find it hard to believe Lane doesn't have his own yoga mat.
Why is Lane in charge of the thermostat?
And why is Lane renting towels?
That's nothing for hot yoga.
Our instructor, Daniela, is energetic. As the class starts, my shirt becomes quickly intolerable. Daniela, I hope this is, maybe I should read this before I go on and on.
Daniela tells me to take off that
what
sticky,
is this, 50
sweaty
Shades
shirt.
of hot yoga or something? I mean, come on.
Wish I would have manscaped this morning.
This is the hot part of hot yoga. Daniela read us a poem from Matthew McConaughey's Poems and Prayers. She has a signed copy. The first line felt applicable for a college football coach making $1 million life decision. Something about pushing through obstacles and hills being easier after you've done the hard work and walking up one. It's hard to remember specifics when I'm in a plank position. The next portion. Why does Lane...
It's a teacher.
Oh, that's
showing you guys.
Daniela?
Yeah, that's Daniela Howard.
Okay. It appears that Lane Kiffin has a type of yoga instructor based on the color of hair of his former wife. Why Lane Kiffin does hot yoga, according to this writer from the Clarion Ledger. Kiffin goes off script in the class. I guess it's what makes him a preeminent play caller. Sometimes he rattles off some push-ups when others are twisting in a pose. One time he walked over to another football staffer to chat. It's probably hard to shake his coaching nature. At the hardest part of the class, I think it was Bon Jovi's You Give Love a Bad Name had just finished playing. Kiffin clapped in encouragement. Others followed. Daniela called out encouragement and tips while leading the class. There was a good job, coach. One time, I even heard a nice, Sam. Kiffin has been in Oxford in 6th season. It's the longest stop of his career and the place he decided to change his lifestyle. He has cut out alcohol and has transformed his body. We rest for the last 2 minutes of the class. We were asked to meditate, and I can imagine what Kiffin is pondering. Cold towels dipped in essential oil and distributed as the class ends. And then it just goes on talking about his contract, his decision making. He says, I had a brief moment with Kiffin as we returned to our mats and threw soaked towels into a laundry bin. He has said in the past that he likes hot yoga because it's the hardest thing he'll do all day. And that was basically it. He did not ask him about his coaching future, but that is Sam Hutchins' detailed story in this morning's Clarion Ledger of him and Lane Kiffin doing hot yoga on potentially the last day that he's the Ole Miss head coach.
That's bizarre.
Bizarre that he did a story on hot yoga, or the fact
No, I give him credit
that Lane Kiffin has to rent towels and a mat.
Yeah.
I respect the dedication of the journalist, but it's still a weird way to go. That'd be a weird assignment.
All right, when we come back on Three Man Front, we will do Bet It or Forget It for this week. Man, have things gotten interesting now. I'll give you the latest standings and Bet It or Forget It. That's next. It is 11:36 here on Jocks. At the top of the hour, we will go to the state of Pennsylvania, find out what's going on with the Penn State coaching search, and could, if certain things happen, could Kalen DeBoer be a name of interest for that job? We'll talk about that coming up at the top of the hour. Every Friday during the football season, we do something called Bet It or Forget It, where we give you 5 games, or actually give my cohorts here on the three-man front 5 games against the spread. And last week, Molly and Landrum both went 4-1. Conrad went 2-3. So if you're keeping up at home, right now Landrum has a 1-game lead over Molly. Molly has now leapfrogged, kind of like Notre Dame has Bama in the CFP. Molly has now leapfrogged Conrad in the standings. Molly's 1 game behind Landrum. Conrad's 2 behind Landrum, 1 behind Molly. So it's getting very interesting.
Plenty of ball left.
Molly is trying to claim back-to-back championships. She's trying to be Ohio State.
That'd be huge.
Yep. We don't need that to happen.
After
Conrad, we will form the coalition. She's already got the green jacket. That's enough.
I mean, just think.
Oh, I did win the green jacket. Yeah.
6 weeks ago, Molly went 0-5 with her picks that
You
week.
can never count me out.
And she is the world's worst at rubbing it in your face. She will.
No,
she
I am
she
not.
brags about that green jacket. Sometimes I'll walk in and she doesn't even know that
She's got it on.
she's got it on.
Yeah.
Oh, this whole thing?
Oh, this whole thing.
Yeah.
I was just a little cold.
I'm still picking out my Champions Dinner meal, by the way.
All right, so let's get to it. The 5 games that we have chosen against the spread and point totals. This is Bet It or Forget It.
The following is for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
3-man fronts. Bet it or forget it.
All right, here we go. The Vanderbilt Commodores, they're hosting Kentucky. They're a 9.5-point favorite. 52.5 is the point total. Kentucky is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games. Pretty good. Vandy is 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 games. The total has gone under in 9 of Vanderbilt's last 13 games against of Kentucky. So let's start with you, Landrum. Are you going to bet it or forget
I'm
it?
going to bet it. I was tempted to take Vandy minus the 9.5 at home. They're in a really good spot.
They have scored just 37 points in 3 road games. So, I like the Doors.
Conrad,
Yeah, Vanderbilt's
since
gonna
you're
win.
in last place, we let you go now.
Vanderbilt's going to win. Pretty simple.
Okay.
Speak for itself.
Tennessee, they're a 4.5-point favorite. Balls are 1-6 against the spread. The over in 5 last 6 games. In games when they play. So let's start with Molly.
And I'm staying far in Tennessee in their games hitting the over. I actually like the under in this one because I think the under is tied directly to the Florida Gators and their winning formula. Not saying they're going to win, but staying away from the spread, I like the under.
How about you, Conrad?
I like the over in this game. I'm going to take a pretty high-scoring Tennessee offense, and I think Florida, right, we've seen them, it's just kind of odd, right? Maybe the worst they've looked all year is when they played Kentucky, and you go and played pretty well against Ole Miss, played well against Texas and won, played well against Georgia, right? So I think Tennessee's defense bad enough. They're going to let Florida score some points, but at the end of the day, Joey Aguilar, they're going to put up 30-plus on the Gators. So Tennessee's going to win the game outright, but I like the over down in the Swamp.
Tennessee's going to win the game. There's too much distraction there in Florida, and a lot of those guys already setting up where they're going to go next, or the focus has been on where is Lane Kiffin going. I like Tennessee, even on the road and all the stats that you mentioned. Give me Tennessee. I think they win this game by 10.
Next game, Oklahoma is hosting the Missouri Tigers. We're going to go with 7.5 as the point spread for Oklahoma. Point total is low. It's 41.5. Mizzou, they are 12-5 against the spread in its last 17 games. The total has gone under in 9 of Oklahoma's last 11 games. But the Sooners, they are 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games at home. So we're going to start with Conrad because he's in last place. So we'll let him go first.
Thank you, Pat. for bringing that up every time I make a pick. So I'm actually. This is an interesting one here. So this is the 4th straight ranked game for Oklahoma, obviously coming off the big win last week over Alabama. How do they handle the pressure of all of that? But the thing I'm looking at in this game is Oklahoma's offense hasn't looked great since John Mateer got hurt in the Auburn game, but Missouri's defense, even though their offense hasn't looked great, defense has been really good. They're allowing the fewest yards per game of any defense in the SEC. And because of that, I think Missouri can keep it within the total. 7.5. I like Missouri to cover the 7.5, but I do think Oklahoma will ultimately win the game.
All right, how about you, Landrum?
I think that this is going to be close, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points. I was going to check out the Norman, Oklahoma weather just quickly. And it looks like it's supposed to be nice tomorrow. That being said, I will go under the 41.5. Not many points in this one.
Molly?
You know me. I'm going to bet it, and I'm with Landrum. I love the under in this one. I know it's low, but I love taking the under.
Low and slow.
Low and slow.
All right, so you took the under, Landrum. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you took the what?
Under.
Under.
And Conrad
Took Mizzou.
took Mizzou.
Gotcha. All right, here we go. Game number 4. Penn State hosting the Nebraska Cornhuskers. The Nittany Lions, they are a 7.5-point favorite. 44.5, that is the point total. Nebraska is 3-16 straight up in their last 19 games in the month of November. The total has gone over in 7 of Nebraska's last 9 games. But Penn State, they're 3-8 against the spread in its last 11 games. So let's start with Molly.
Yes.
You gonna bet it or forget it?
It's TJ Lateef season, baby. So that means Nebraska is going to win. I'm rolling with the Huskers. When this line opened as a Nebraska 10.5-point underdog, I was shocked. I think the Huskers are going to go in and win. There's a lot going on in Happy Valley. They don't have a coach. Give me the Skurs.
How about you, Conrad?
Yeah, this is a disgusting football game that I'm sorry. I have no interest in watching a single second of this game. But with that being said,
And that's why you're in last place. No, I'm kidding.
and with that being
Boom!
said,
Boom!
I do think
Play nice.
Bam!
maybe one day Molly will see a college football playoff. All right, so Nebraska, I'll give them the benefit
Been
of the
salty.
doubt. I think Nebraska with the backup quarterback has actually been better than I thought. I thought they
I
might
agree.
fall off a cliff, and they've done a lot better.
Don't start being nice
So
now.
I'm going to take Nebraska to cover. I don't feel like it's kind of a coin flip on who's going to win, but I think Nebraska does cover on the road against Penn State. So give me the Huskers.
So what was that? You said that maybe in her lifetime she'll see a college football playoff game?
Yes, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I said maybe. I didn't want to get too confident.
All right, Landrum, you're up.
Golly. Ugh. Just ugh. What did you go with, Molly?
I said
Did you have to
Did
ask
you?
like which she is gonna go?
I will say in an alternate universe, Molly, this game could be awesome,
well,
but we
yeah.
do not live in that universe.
No.
So you guys took Nebraska?
Yes,
I'll
we
take-
both took Nebraska.
I guess I'll take Nebraska. Ugh.
Welcome aboard.
He's trying to hold on to his lead. That's what he's trying to do. I can read right through that. All right, here we go. Last game of the week. Oregon taking on USC. The Ducks, 10.5-point favorite. 59.5 is the point total. Oregon is 19-1 straight up in their last 20 games at Autzen. The total has 6 games on the road. USC is 7-0 against the spread in its last playing week 13 of the college football season. Let's start with Landrum. You going to bet it or forget it?
And I am going under the 59.5.
All right. How about you, Molly?
See, I also thought about taking the under in this game. I actually like USC in the points here. I think this is going to be a really close game because you look at both USC and Oregon. Oregon's best win this year was against Iowa, and that was a really close game. I think this one's going to be pretty similar. So I like USC in the total.
Okay. Conrad is
Yep.
taking USC to cover.
Good
Conrad
choice.
is taking USC to cover. And that's this week's Bet It or Forget It. This thing is coming down to the wire. Good luck to all my teammates. Coming up next, we will continue the conversation on this Football Friday on Jocks.
Eleven 51, three-man front here on this Friday. We continue to preview college football games going on this weekend, but also following head coaching searches. What's going on in Oxford? We'll keep you up to date on all of that as well. But our buddy JR, takingvegas.com, joins us. We're going to have his free pick a little bit later on. But JR, how are you? I'm guessing that you're pretty busy. You've detailed that your Thanksgiving is quite the undertaking for you and your family and your feast that you prepare.
I've been married almost now 28 years. Oh, man, I can't even do the math anymore. Yeah, I'm married 28 years. We have 6 kids, most of which are going to be there at the house with their significant others, as well as my two smaller ones, which are, by the way, 14 and 10. But my wife and I have been having huge Thanksgivings now for, 27, 28 years. And she goes all out. My wife, God bless her. I don't know how she does it, man. not only does she do the turkey, of course, but we've got the pre-course, which is the Italian side, where we have either a baked ziti or a lasagna. Yeah, you got the antipasta that you do before all that. You got the desserts. You've got the snacks. You got the chips. Yeah, I really don't know how she does, because she doesn't let me come in the kitchen. It's her kitchen. If I come near her, I get yelled at and get kicked out. The only thing I'm allowed to do is the dishes. So,
well,
I'm excited though.
Well, you've got a good wife, and I always tell people about the feast. You laid it out for us one day with all the stuff that you guys go through, but I love it. I love hearing about what people prepare for their families for the holidays. We got lots to talk about, JR. We got a big weekend of college football and the NFL. But I want to remind people, because I learned this several years ago, and we've been friends, and you've been doing this for a while, how good you are. Folks, this is not, I don't get paid to say this. He is so good when it comes to college basketball. And I'm guessing that's continued here in the early season.
Man, has it ever. We last night 3-0, night before 2-0, so 5 straight in college hoops. We don't get started really until we get back into in-conference play. But right now, the tournaments, we always, this is like a preliminary to the NCAA Big Dance that's happening, at the in March. So for us, we're going to have a lot of action in a short period of time. It's almost like a separate bankroll, that the way we approach it is separate from what we've been doing in football. And we attack it with growth real fast, because it's like it's here and it's gone in the blink of an eye. So it's not going to be here for weeks on end. If you're serious about making money, then the focus that the books are on right now, all of their attention is going to be in the NFL, going to be in the college football. They're not paying attention to making great lines and a lot of mismatches that are taking place during these tournaments. So last night, easy winner with Kansas State, +1.5. They went outright by 20. Had also Wake Forest, should have won that one outright at +8.5 to 9. Had a winner with Nebraska early on. So listen, here's what we're doing. I'm making a big move tonight. Also, we're going to have college basketball tonight. So you want to make some money, you definitely want to sign up with us. This is a great, great, great week to do it. Now, I'm going to give you for free the winner of the Florida State-North Carolina State game in college football tonight. All you got to do is text the word WIN to the number 545454. We're going to hit you right back. We're going to give you the winner of tonight's big college football game. Again, Florida State taking on NC State. The line on that game, Florida State, both teams, by the way, 5-5 in this matchup. It's at NC State. The line is Florida State -5.5. It's actually up to 6.5 at this point on that game. So I'll tell you guys straight out, I love the matchup. Going to give you the win. I'll tell you if NC State wins this one outright or Florida State steamrolls them. All you got to do, text the word WIN. That's WIN to the number 545454. We'll give it to you absolutely free.
Right.
And again, no strings attached, guys.
Quickly, JR, you're 8-4 with your free picks on the air. The NFL, you got the Colts and the Chiefs. Who do you like?
This is not much of a shocker to me, but I know the public it is. Colts outright. But take the +3.5. Take the Colts, guys, plus the 3.5 to beat Kansas City outright on Sunday. And again, text WIN to 545454. I hear the music. I know it's time to go. Be safe, have fun, enjoy Thanksgiving, and let's make some money.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving. All the best to your family. Enjoy the time. Save a little bit for me.
Absolutely, man. You guys enjoy. Be safe. Thanks.
JR, thank you. Appreciate it. TakingVegas.com. Once again, he said take the Colts. Well, he's plus 3.5 over the Chiefs. That's your free pick, and also the text line available as well. More to get into. What's going on in Oxford? Big meeting coming up. We'll give you the latest.